Hey, good morning. We are at Nomadic Innovations, and
My name is Jonathan. I'm the CEO, owner, and founder, and I'm a man who drives with his dog everywhere he goes. So I am in the community, and I would say I'm actually for the community as well, sir. So thank you.
All
Let's
right.
take a tour. Let's
all
go.
right. Okay, let's go.
Environmental chamber, where we can test our ACs, other ACs, and hopefully invent new ACs. The whole goal that we're trying to accomplish is really increase the quality, the lifespan, and reduce the electrical capacity needed to run air conditioners. It's actually, it turns out it's a very slow process. We thought it would be a lot quicker. And then our goal is to take all of that information that we learned and then make air conditioners right here in America. That's what this whole place is for. So, hopefully one day we'll be making that all here.
Compressors
Uh,
still possibly importing
yeah, so
compressors for now,
everything,
but
so everything comes down to scale.
Yep.
Right? If you're doing 1,000 air conditioners, you can't make your own compressors.
Yep.
So with scale, we get the ability to do more parts,
Right.
and then also reduce the cost of all the parts. So everything has to come from an idea, small quantities, hundreds to thousands, thousands to 10,000.
Gotcha.
And then just really try to drive the cost down so that people can have what I think is a much better experience, even in a B, but a very large Class A or a Super C, like is where these air conditioners can shine, because they're
agree.
fully customizable. The way it's always worked in this industry is a manufacturer makes a product and they hand it to a manufacturer, to an OE, and they say, this is the product that we made, figure out how it works with you.
Yep.
And we want to get to a place where we can say, what do you want? And then build the product specifically for them. Our new Helix system that I'm going to show you over here, I think is the most advanced control system for an RV anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Your air conditioner can be turned on and off from your phone anywhere in the world. Okay. The other thing it can do is you can pair it with a camera so you can watch your dog.
Yep.
So if your dog starts to pant, you can see it. It then can actually pair with the lights. So as the temperature goes up, you can set the lights, either the brightness or the color.
Gotcha.
So you can, as it gets colder, imagine you're going for a hike and you have like under lighting of your van. And just by looking at it, you can see by looking at the lights on the ground what color, how hot it is inside your van, because you set it. Everything works with an if-then philosophy. So the awning controller, same thing. It goes in and out. Okay, it does 2 lights in and out. But it also has a mechanical lock for the driver. So there's a mechanical and a software catch, which means that there's no way that your awning can deploy itself when you're driving.
Right.
As long as you decide to hook that up. But the board that we used to do that was designed and manufactured here in Elkhart.
Really?
So engineered and designed, prototyped, everything right here from start to finish. So we can look at what are the problems.
Yep.
Well, we talk to all the OEs and our customers. Well, awnings are self-deploy. Oh, well, that's not good. How do we solve that?
Yep.
And then we just go all the way down the line. It's like, well, air conditioners can be loud at night. Well, how do we make an air conditioner quieter? Well, we have to use a different fan. Well, that's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But because you need a different fan, now you need a new controller.
Yep.
And the new controller has to be able to control the fan inside the vehicle and the fan outside the vehicle and the compressor, but has to do all 3 in a way that optimizes for cooling.
Yep.
And by the way, our new AC does heating and cooling.
Nice.
Very
Pump.
so
More of a heat strip. Or
no, not a heat strip. It's basically, I guess you can consider it a heat pump, but it just reverses the flow of the coolant. So there's one mechanical part that does all of that.
I like the height of the top, the units,
The shroud,
the
yeah.
shroud.
Yeah.
Because like on a fifth wheel, you're already getting height, and when you put like a 10-inch or 12-inch air conditioner on top of it, if you can drop that down to 5 inches.
The height of the ACs are under 7 inches, and that's so with a Sprinter van you can park inside of a garage. Okay, so that's like our max height. And what I tell everybody is we can make an air conditioner colder 2 ways. We can use more power or make it taller. So those are your 2 options. Okay, if you want a colder air conditioner, you really just need a larger evaporator. So when you go this way, you can't assume that it's going to do the same thing as a 15-inch tall air
Right.
conditioner. It's just, but that air conditioner, that X2, is basically 35, 40 pounds. Like, it weighs nothing.
Right.
So when you add that onto the weight of a coach, it really starts reducing how many batteries you need inside the coach, and then the overall weight, so you can add more stuff, which we all like to do. And so these guys are, these two gentlemen right here are software engineers. They deal with all of the app and the interface.
How you doing, gentlemen?
And then Caleb here is a mechanical engineer,
What's up, Caleb? Nice to
helping
meet you. How you doing, bud? This is
designing the
Marc. Nice to
big.
meet you.
He's a YouTuber, so we're
nice.
and I didn't do my hair or wear a hat. So
It's all good. We had no warnings.
But so what we have here is we have a complete Victron system. We have a complete, no, this is Lithionics, sorry. Lithionics, EcoFlow, and Victron all here. So we can test every electrical system that's pretty much on the market that people use to figure out how it works with our ACs and with our Helix system. So you can see right here, we have our Helix system. This is a 10-inch touchscreen. And you can see all of your devices right there. And Anakin, go ahead and hit the camera on there.
All right. Okay, that activates the camera up here.
Now look at that. No, there you
yeah.
are. Now here's the thing, that camera's right there. There's no wires connected to it. Okay? So you can use wired or wireless. And so imagine you're in a Super C and you want to keep a look at the driver, or you want to keep a look at the dogs on the back.
Yep.
From the same screen with no programming, you just tap a pair button. Every single device we have, just pair button. Bang. Just like your Amazon Alexa at home. You pair it and forget it.
Yep.
The name of it, instead of it saying security camera, you can have it say anything you want.
Yep.
Now, I'll tell you a little bit other crazy thing that how this works is, if I go back to here, you can see all the different devices here. Okay, so it doesn't look like those are plugged in. There we go. So this light's in a different room inside the building.
Cool.
But it still comes up because it goes through Wi-Fi, right? So I'm changing the light colors everywhere.
I think we got those two lights plugged in right there.
Oh, okay. So on those, like, I can go to these switches
Oh, nice.
and right there, and you can move everything around. Now, the nice thing for manufacturers, you don't need to purchase the screen from us. Why? Because it looks the same on your phone or on your tablet.
So it's an app?
Yeah, it's an app. Yeah. Sorry, you have an app?
I got it. Hold on. He's showing me right here.
Okay.
So mine's not.
Cheers.
So
Yeah,
mine's
show
not,
'em- show
Mine's
'em.
not paired to the devices out
You're
here,
fine.
but
Oh, sorry. Size is paired to the device.
like
Oh, yeah.
we have a few temperature probes on
Yeah.
there from testing, so we can
Yeah.
access those at any given
So
point.
there's the Nomadic Controls app. You click on it.
So could this be a Garmin page?
A Garmin page.
So we're
Well,
heading to the Garmin side of things.
you should.
We could download this on our
You,
tablet.
So yeah, so the whole thing to think about it is like our air conditioner can work with the Garmin because it takes CAN.
Yep.
But this is a way
circumvent that.
to not use Garmin basically
Gotcha,
because your
gotcha.
price is so much less
Okay.
and there's no programming necessary.
Gotcha.
Your customer can do everything. So if the customer can add things to their system and change the name on everything. So watch this. For the lights, for instance, if I click on the lights and I tap this button and I tap this and the name right here, I'll just change this to 2. Confirm. Okay. So then I go back to here. Okay. And it will change the name here.
Neat.
There's no thinking involved.
Right.
Right? The customer can move this and configure it any way they want. Now look here, if I want to connect apps together or products, this is like a $5 temperature and humidity sensor that's on here. Okay? You can run any of our air conditioners off of this temperature by telling it to use this temperature reading.
So that becomes your
Thermostat,
Yeah, so there's a thermostat in the unit. Imagine you're in a class B and the air conditioner's in the front, but you want to take the temperature in the back where you sleep. Well, now you just move that to there,
Yep.
and you tell the air conditioner to set it to this temperature.
Yep.
These things cost nothing.
Yep.
It's all inexpensive. Here's the other thing. For all of your lights, because it's programmed on your phone, you now no longer have to wire any light switches into your vehicle, because they'll come in a bag with batteries, and the customer will place them where they want them and then say, I want this light switch to work for that light. And then the next thing people say, well, is that reliable? I say, this is the same thing that Amazon does for houses.
Yep.
There's no
Yep,
new,
smart homes.
we've put it all together in a way, and then we've manufactured and designed the electrical components that we need that aren't available for 12 volt. But on the OE side, like this switching device that works with this, right? Retail price is $30. Okay, so that does 4. A really nice one does 6. So, and you can take the light up and the light down. You can do anything you want, and the customer has access to control everything. Not only that, this tablet right here has Pandora on it. Okay, so you can tap Pandora. It has the local weather right here. So the local weather says 79 with chance of humidity. So you can set your air conditioner to operate off of the local humidity. If you want to, like, let's say you don't drive it in the summer.
Yep.
It'll just start, and you say, I want it to pull the humidity out of the coach.
Yep.
Booms, it turns on anytime the humidity is over 40%.
Nice.
There's no thinking.
That's cool. Well done.
So now
Thanks, man.
You can have your tablet or device mounted on your dash or so.
Yeah,
And
so
you can use that for like your rear view camera and.
So can this be an app on a tablet?
it is an app on a tablet. Yeah, it's Android
Okay,
too.
so I don't need the screen.
You don't need the screen.
phone. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
You don't need anything. Now, for an OE's perspective, you have 2 choices. You can pair everything for the customer before it leaves, and you just need to give them an email address
Yep.
with a password.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so
Kind of like Victron.
yeah, so you would give them that, it'd be stuck on a book, and then they could do it. You give them one screen for the sales. Oh, look at this. But in reality, just like Victron, they just look it up on their phone. And any tablet, this is what really reduces the cost. Thank you, Si. This is what reduces the cost. You don't have to buy the tablets from us.
Right.
Any Android-based tablet, and then really the thing of us putting tablets all over the place, well, it's not really necessary because everything's just so easy to use on your phone.
Yeah.
And by the way, as I mentioned, you can say, hey Siri,
Yep.
turn on my air conditioner. And
Yeah.
nobody has that,
Yeah.
you know. And we can do that. Now, here's why we do this. So if a customer wants to upgrade and like record, you know, use it for security cameras or watch their dog and like record that data, that costs us money. And so we'll pass that on to the customer at just like a Ring does at like $99 a year
Yep.
if they want it.
Yep.
But they don't have to get it.
Gotcha.
This is, not to brag, the most advanced app out in the RV marketplace, for sure. And
That's extremely inquisitive right there. That's
well, we
really-
have.
That's
Well,
really,
not only that, in my office we have water leak detectors.
Oh, nice.
So they're little pucks.
Yep,
You pull
yep.
the tag out.
Yep.
You set it up underneath your
Legos or
electrical
something
system.
like whatever they're.
They're our brand.
Waggle makes it.
Yeah, they're our brand.
Okay.
Yeah, so we make them. They still don't cost anymore.
Yep.
They come in a little box. You peel it out. Oh, it's not right here.
all
But
good.
you can just sit them wherever you want to in your system. Not only that, I'm gonna blow your mind right here. I didn't even show you the water tank monitor. We'll have a few different versions of the water tank sensor, but this just goes into the tank. Okay, you can screw it on or you can seal it in from the top. It has a pair button right here, and there it is on your phone. Not only that, everything for our stuff gives you insights as far as the history of all of your stuff. And you can,
How far back can you data log? From
Set-
the minute you change
7 years?
Change it over?
Yeah, 7 years.
Wow.
7 years.
So this sensor is like a rod that goes down in.
No,
Oh, is it like a
just
sonar?
electric, yep. It just
Sonar?
goes right, yeah, you just drill a little hole and stick it right in there. And then you tell it how tall it is and it figures out all the math. And so this means too, right, all you're giving it is power. You're not hooking anything up. You're not configuring it. Like there's nothing. Some people say, well, we'd like it on the side of the box and not on the top or whatever. We'll get one of those. Just depends on what people want.
So when you have people, they talk about getting stuff on their sensors that messes up the readings. You wouldn't have that problem with them.
Well, you still hypothetically could have that problem.
But it's not the 3 little probes and all that.
No, there's not 3 little probes. There's 2 little sensors underneath.
Okay.
Yeah, so on a black tank, you hypothetically could get paper towel on there or something, you know. But with the nice thing, this just unscrews out of here. So you just unscrew it. You just have to design it in a way that you can get access to it.
Super cool.
And then what else? You want to show them the air conditioner?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is our newest AC that comes with the app on it, and it logs 7 years as well. So when they call up for warranty and say that they've never used their air conditioner, it'll log 7 years of data.
So that's an X2?
This is an X2.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he's turning it on from his phone over
We can
there.
turn it on from our mobile, and like we have 4 different modes: auto, eco, fan only, and cold. And you can set the temperatures from here. And in the settings you have fan speed, and you can operate in like 2 in Celsius and Fahrenheit. And our runtime locks here, and it goes on until like 7 years. Like you cannot tamper this anymore. And with this display, like you can turn on the display of the control panel, and coming to the insides, like you get a graph of like what is your ambient temperature and the temperature at evap. This is basically, and you can operate this from the tablet as well.
Okay.
It's all interconnected.
So you're laying in bed at night and the lights on, or you just go on the app and turn the lights off.
You just say, hey Siri, turn on the light.
Yeah.
A mini split system for a Class B.
Sold out right now.
Yeah.
Sold out.
And this goes what, on the tire carrier or something
That
like
goes
that?
on your molly rack in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this goes just on the
Wherever
side?
you want it, you can put it inside of a cabinet. So the cabinet opens up when you want to use it, so it's hidden.
Okay, cool.
And then this uses all flexible hoses that can be cut to
Yep,
adjust
yep.
perfectly. But this unit, the reason it works better is because the AC on the roof, in direct sunlight on a hot day, doesn't.
Tough spot.
And they all, like, we had a couple tickets this morning from tech support. It's like they're in Vegas. It's 120 degrees, and they want to know why it only gets to 80 inside the van.
Yeah.
With that tiny little air conditioner, you know.
Out in the middle of a parking lot.
Yeah,
No
they want to
shade.
get their solar.
On blacktop.
Yeah.
What's the
No window covering.
what's the
No
strength
window,
of
you
the
know what I mean?
air coming out of it?
Yeah.
Like,
This one's extreme.
okay.
This one's extreme, but the bigger one is the Vortex system. So this large AC is for an industrial application or for somebody that has to get cold. I can tell you, we have our one demo van out right now. It was 112 in Utah yesterday. Within about 10 minutes, it was 80 degrees inside the coach. But when you feel these fans, I mean, this is like, I wish I had it set up for you. This would blow you away.
So that is a big version of this.
This is an industrial version
Okay.
of this.
Okay.
With this one, we looked at it, how to make the most expensive air conditioner. It's sort of like the way you want to think about it.
Yep.
How to use the most expensive components, the nicest quality, don't skimp on anything, and then see if we can set the bar there.
Yep.
Now, we're not going to sell a lot of those.
Right.
But it's going to like move the needle as far as technology is concerned, because this thing, this is for a customer, Nick, this little cab right here, and we put the little one in here for testing, and you'll get icicles on the windows.
Oh wow.
So we let it run for about 40 minutes. Started it, took a meeting, kind of talked over some stuff. I had one of the other engineers come and grab me because he's freaking out. He goes, "The cab's 43 degrees. Do you want me to shut it off?" I said, "No, keep running."
And this was in the last month?
This was last
in
week.
here.
Last week.
In here?
Yeah.
Or just sitting out here?
No, just
In
sitting
this-
out here.
Oh,
In this
wow.
cab, it was about, I would say, like 80 degrees.
So the
90%
worst, one of the
humidity.
worst weeks in Indiana we've had is the last 2 weeks with heat,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
right? So
And
to get those temperatures is pretty impressive.
This thing, so we looked at the other stuff that's going, and everything comes down to the size of the evaporator and the
Yep.
condenser.
Yep.
Just the basic,
Yep.
this is where all the money's spent. And so if you're looking at it, like you can get a thin one channel for like nothing. But once you start customizing these things and increasing the size and the weight and the how much actually cooling you can get, this is where everything stems from.
Nice.
And then it just gets bigger and bigger.
To compare the X2 and the X3, like on a transit van,
I always tell people the best way to think about it is how big's your battery. And then you pick what size air
So if
conditioner
we're running
you
a
get.
640 right now,
On a B van,
22-foot transit.
so I have our sales guy just took our van, drove it to Oregon, you know, for that,
Yep.
you know, and he's testing out all the ACs. And he sleeps at night, like he says, I gotta open the windows. It's freezing inside this thing with just the X2 running.
Okay.
Now, it has insulation.
Yep.
He's on a high bed.
Yep.
And there's not a lot that's like soaking the heat, and it has a lot to do with like how much of this metal you have
Yep.
exposed.
Or glass.
Or glass, yeah.
Yep.
And then it's like, do you partition off areas?
Yep.
You know, so like, I still think the X2 is the better AC for most people.
Gotcha.
Because the power consumption threshold is just so much higher when you put in that bigger compressor.
Gotcha.
But if I was building like the perfect van and like cost wasn't a thing because the install time's higher, I would still go with a split system. It's hands down better.
I've got
because it's what's the current the current draw on these?
About 30 amps.
About 30 if it's really hot. I think the max that we have at a higher ambient temperature is like 43 is where it maxes out in specs.
And that's 30 amps. DC.
DC, 12 volt.
Yeah.
12 volt. So this is just 12 volt. So that number is, if I can do some math right
About
here,
600 watts, 500 watts or something.
probably right around there. Yeah, you're much better at math than I am. 12 times 40. It's 480.
480. Okay.
And,
yeah.
and so you have to remember too, you can do eco mode on this.
And that would
now-
even be less.
I'm sorry?
That would be less.
You could do less
So
for
30 is
sure.
the top.
It's that like nominal. So it'll go up from there when you hit the 120, 130s.
Gotcha.
But you have to remember it's cycling through and not going back out onto the roof to heat back up again.
Yep.
So it's just much more efficient
Right.
way of doing the
Yeah,
thing.
I like it.
So if you had a slick top roof with maybe 600 watts of solar feeding into your battery bank, that would pretty much run this.
That's 100% the math is correct on that. Yeah.
Wow.
And we always give the math in like the worst terms, but at night it may only be working 25% of the time.
Right.
That's the other thing about nighttime is you need an AC that when it turns on and off, you don't know it turned on and off.
Right.
Because that's the biggest
Wake up.
complaint that we used to get before we changed our programming is the condenser fan would stop spinning and then it would turn back on.
Right.
And so all night they hear this on off, on off.
We
on,
get
off.
complaints that our fans always run. Because the Truma always runs.
Okay.
That way you don't get the site. So it's inverse or opposite
Yeah.
of what you're saying.
The fan's outside.
On top.
On top.
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
always running.
that's interesting. So through the programming, we could do it either way.
Gotcha.
But we have people complain about the other way.
Yep.
Yeah, the
hard
distribution,
starts.
the circulation fans always run.
Yeah, the circulation, not the compressor necessarily.
And so, like, what is the perfect AC? We haven't figured it out yet. Like,
You guys are getting close.
you know, this was a demo for us. We did, I don't know, 300-400 units, like not a big number, just to see if people would go through the work of installing it. I thought they wouldn't. Well, we were wrong. Like, people are willing to do the work of the install.
Right, the controller should be.
Okay, I see a little flap is moving.
I'll ask them. So we tested the take me on camera for this part. The actual real number was the Nomadic at
Okay.
their 6250, spot on.
But loud as heck. It's like rolling a metal barrel down the road.
Spot on. The thing is, the look on the inside doesn't match like what our builders want. Now we use that metal faceplate on the inside that you saw.
Yep.
The metal looks amazing, but it's not the best idea to use metal as your faceplate. But the customers don't want the plastic faceplate.
Okay.
Because we have them,
Yep.
but they don't want them.
Yep.
So
You're
like
talking about Dometic 12.
the Nomadic
Okay,
12
not the typical ones.
Not-
Okay, all
yeah.
good. My
Yeah.
bad, maybe reverse what I
Yeah.
said on that. I've heard really good things about that.
We tried them, but what I want to be for you is like whenever you want to test an AC,
Yep.
if you just schedule it here and just say, hey, we're going to bring one in, your engineers can sit right here, and we have all the equipment to be like, well, how does it run on the Lithionics 51 volt? Well, we
Yep.
have that.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to guess on the numbers.
Yep.
Like the way we do the test is we start at say 70 degrees and go up.
Gotcha.
Right? Now the Vortex system, because it's so big, can outperform that big heater that's in there and start
Gotcha.
cooling it down
Okay.
from the inside, which is pretty amazing.
Interesting.
Put your ear next to this and listen to the noise it makes.
Yeah, that's nice.
You can't-
I could use that by my bed.
That's quiet.
We've had a couple people install them in their house.
See, we travel with dogs.
Me
And-
too.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
And I have little sciences, it's air conditioning, we monitor. But my new Truma is so quiet on the roof. You don't hear an air conditioner. With something like this on the tailgate, on the door, people go, oh, it must be air conditioning because there's something running.
Well, I
out here."
never thought about that. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
Because when it's really quiet, people don't know.
The Truma is like, it's engineered by the Germans, and they do phenomenal work. Like the nice thing about them, and they were, by the way, they were nice enough to invite me out to their showroom, like which was really nice of them to do. And I was just, their engineering behind their system is amazing. But because of the size of their company, they can take time to get to market. Like we don't have that 3 years
And they do take their time.
to get to market, you know, so like sometimes there's some fumbling involved with that, but
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
it's just a filter. But it uses an A-frame construction evaporator like you would see in a house.
It's beautiful.
This is the least expensive AC.
Like ballpark retail.
Retail's $2,000,
Right.
which is $1,000 less than our rooftop system.
Yep.
And most of that is we never get warranty calls. We never have.
Robust. Simple, robust.
It's just simple, robust. Sometimes they have questions on the filling because they have to do that themselves at the location. But there's just not a lot going on.
Do you have a so we used to use some Pro Air stuff and some other 12 volt. It would be really cool if here you could have some kind of Freon gauge. Because it's like def in a Sprinter or a regen or a Sprinter. Like you need to know when this is going to happen. Because if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you need to fill it,
It's absolutely no problem to add it.
we need you around.
So here's the thing to note about this is you want to think about it as like pieces. So like this is obviously this easiest form factor, but if you're like, I need a different form factor, we can work on that.
Could this be lower? Could this be in a like recessed into a bench, even though this is higher on the ladder on the outside?
It's
You gotta take that door.
No, like even on our build that we just did for the black van that's out and it's working, we're going up the full 8 feet, back over, back around, and then down. It's not optimal. Like we would much prefer us not going to go from the condenser up 8 feet.
Yep.
But the compressor's strong enough to handle that.
Cool. Impressive.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you guys.
Well, we're plugging along on only products that I need.
Yeah.
And I'd like to show you the new awning control.
Can you show me this for a second?
Sure.
So the inner workings of it.
Yeah, so the one thing about this air conditioner, I do not know another air conditioner on the market where everything can be replaced. It's like a big Lego set. So nothing is brazed on here. So if your fan goes, we can ship you a fan to Mexico. If your compressor goes, you can see that it can be replaced right here. Okay, same thing with the internal fans. If you get a rock, I mean, pretty common for people to back up into a tree and get a tree branch in there. They say it just magically got the hole, but we know what happened. All of these parts can be shipped, which means if the tech support's doing their job, we shouldn't have to send a whole AC. It should just be a part because everything is independent. The control panel comes out with just a clap.
Yep.
It's very easy to get to. All you do is just do that. And the reason why this is cut like this is to be able to see how the condensation is flowing. Like, so you cut this out, you put tape over it, and then you turn on the unit, and then you can see the condensation dripping,
Yep.
and you can see if these fans are too strong, right, you can have a problem with it pulling water in this way,
Yep.
and it goes on the inside.
Yep.
So like with this setup, we can test it in different temperatures to see. Now, what we also have done recently, and this is kind of like behind the little things you don't think of, our old thermistor placement was here on the front of the evaporator, okay?
Does this sound familiar?
Our old thermistor was on the front. And so what would happen is our directions say only to use powerful mode for 30 minutes, but everybody goes to sleep with powerful mode on. So then what happens is the ice starts to freeze up behind the system. And blocks it, which makes this temperature now hotter, which makes the compressor go even faster, so now we've replaced the thermistor and added it back here in the back, okay? That simple change means that you can never freeze an evaporator. Absolutely impossible.
Yeah,
And no defog and dump.
No.
In the middle of the night.
No, nothing like that.
airflow that goes down, this gets
Yeah.
hotter, the sensor says it needs
So-
to cool more. And,
So
wow.
the boys in there work on something called a state machine. And that's a bunch of if-thens. So when it goes into the machine and you turn up the temperature, what speed do you want the compressor to be running? So most ACs are on-off or on half speed. This one is run by PWM, pulse width modulation. So it goes from like 5% to 95% of the compressor speed. So what you want to look for is it to go up like this, go down to 40 degrees, and then cycle the compressor speed down. Don't turn it off. Cycle it down to 25%. Let that temperature rise, and then all night it should go like this.
Yep.
So the air conditioner should never turn off.
Cool.
Yeah, so you have what they call like an inverter air conditioner compressor. It just
No.
cycles.
No, this is straight DC.
Oh, great. Okay.
It runs like a fan. So these fans, the fans outside have an extra wire. It's a third wire. It's typically yellow,
Okay.
like a computer fan, multiple speeds.
Gotcha.
This compressor works the same way. So you can run this compressor independent of anything with just a PWM signal, and it'll just go like this.
And as it slows down, it uses less power too.
That's what we're looking for. That's where the magic of the state machine is.
Right.
And with the new app, if we learn something in the programming, they can update it here, and every unit updates automatically, which is amazing.
So this is probably, if that's 30 some pounds, this is probably 40, 50 pounds. No, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but pick up this little guy.
Yeah, I already did. This is amazing.
So if you had a transit van with 2 dogs in it in the daytime in the summer, would that be too small?
So I would first ask you if you're going to put a divider up between your front seats. That's where all the heat comes in.
Yep, they got one.
Yeah, and then I would say, how long are you going to be gone for your vehicle?
Right.
And are you going to cool it down from the engine first? I'll just give you a prime example. I have a Sprinter van, moved here from Phoenix. I can't drive my Sprinter van in over 100, 110 degrees in Phoenix because that engine doesn't even get to you.
Yeah.
You're still 85 with running down the highway in those temperatures.
Yep.
And so I always think it's just try not to go to Death Valley.
Yeah.
Like I always, you know,
Yeah.
we try not to oversell the product. I'll show you. These are our new DC to DC converters. So this thing converts, it goes from 12 volts from your stock alternator, okay, into your 48 volt battery. which means that if you set it up right, you don't need to spend the money on a secondary alternator.
Yep.
Just goes, you can limit this, we can program it to go any amperage you want, 80, 100 on the 12 volt side, and it converts back into your 48, so it will charge your battery. You can also use this to use a 12 volt inverter with a 48 volt battery.
Gotcha.
You can also use this for all of your 12 volt outputs. So it, we, in our demo vehicle out to Oregon, charges at 20 amps at 48 volts the entire time.
20 amps at 48 volts.
It's about 1,000 watts,
Yep,
which is
yep.
really nice. The most impressive thing is that's an older vehicle, it's 2019, so it has an original battery in there.
Yep.
As that battery, now that we're seeing as that battery nominal voltage is going down, because it probably needs to be replaced, this thing automatically senses that and drops it down to 8 amps of charging.
Gotcha.
Pretty cool. So this saves you a ton of money on the front end. So this is the same switch you saw in the RV. I'll just give you guys the full demo. So
This is the Helix he was talking
this is the
about.
Helix. So you can see right now it's working on 110 volt. So you can use these for 110 volt as well. And then I can go to these and I can turn on those lights. And from here, if I can find it, so smart bulb. So I'll hit a smart bulb and then I can change the colors. Maybe I turn it on. Oh, there it goes. And I can change the colors right here
Super cool.
from here for even your 110 system.
Yep.
Now these lights, these are from Amazon.
Yep.
These are Matter.
Yep.
Like just works, you know. So
Interesting.
and all this stuff is like, this is less than $100. You know, the goal is to get the cost down.
Yep.
So you can have this little switch sitting in your house controlling your van.
Yeah.
Same as having the tablet.
Yeah, and you can vice versa. You can have this in your. It can be all one system, so you can divide it up by entities. So you could do one for your house, and then you could do another one, but it's all inside the same system.
Right.
And so it knows what you're doing. You can open your car door, or sorry, your garage from here too, which is super nice. But I can actually go to, let me find it here. All of our door locks go through here. Let me see.
Door locks. So, okay, just, okay, in here. Okay.
But we will get to RV door locks.
That's
because
awesome.
look, so this is programmed right to my finger,
Yep.
or your phone can open
Yep.
Is that your fingerprint?
it. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's nice.
super nice.
I'm glad you're in town.
Well, it's just slower than we'd like.
Hey, keep on pushing, man.
Let me see
Keep
here.
on pushing.
So you can talk through this. So if you're in a big Class A, the person in the back can talk to the driver right through here. And look at that.
Does that voice link with the camera?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you can, like, we're moving the camera right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well done.
Yeah. So you can just see how, like, over time this will expand a little
Yep.
bit nicer into the RV.
Good job.